So there it is in high definition, and I'll try and get in a little closer there. I don't know, on my screen I can read the light bulb type. Hang on guys, we got to bring her back to normal exposure here and kind of widen out. That's Steve's guitar. So we just got done buffing the top of it. There's a couple little blips here and there in the grain, but without grain filling you kind of get that. But man alive, that finish polished out like you would not believe. Whoo! So the neck has a rough fretboard, and silly me, I probably should have leveled this surface before I attached it. Okay, so there, you might think, well, just run it through the table saw. Well, there's a taper here, so I can't use that as a reference. This end doesn't match that end, so I can't use that as a reference. I have an offset from back here to up here, so that's tough to use as a reference. So what the hell am I going to do? Well, I think what I've figured out I'm going to do is I'm going to use my jointer. So as you know, the jointer has a little offset in it that's variable. So what I'm going to do is set that offset to a specific distance. Let's call it a 32nd of an inch. Then I'm going to put a block here, out here, so I have some space, that will be on the out feed, and I'll fire the machine up, and this block will be lower than where, or this block will be level with where I want this top. Then I will have a block on the back end that is taller by 5/32 because that's our offset, plus another 32nd so that it feeds in with that 1/32 offset, so that it feeds in at the exact height I want it. I've got my little spacers cut, so my ebony is back here out of the way of the blades. So what I'll do is put pressure here and start up the blades and just very slowly move it through. Then I have my back block, and I'll probably, as it gets up through there, I'll probably lift it up, put the back block under it, and then push it through. Say there's just a couple little hiccups right there, and that's probably where I put that back spacer in, but that is pretty darn close to where I want to start. That's going to give me plenty of a good reference there. I'm sorry I didn't bring you guys along, but I went ahead and squared this up just a little bit with my files back here, and it was just, when I put the square on it, it just rocked, just a hair. And, you measure it from both sides, and the problem was definitely that this side was short and this side was a little long. So I used some masking tape, covered up the part that I didn't want to file, and then just worked on that, and now it feels perfect. No rock, no problem. So next move is to draw the center line on here. Some of you guys know I'm an architect, and therefore I have access to large print machines to print large things. And yesterday I spent a little time drawing out my fretboard in the exact scale that I want it, blah blah blah. And I got it home and I measured it, and it's not right. It's off. So it printed, instead of I think it was 24 3/4, it's just shy of that by like I don't know if it's a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch overall. At the 12th fret, that's right, at the 12th fret it was about a 32nd of an inch off. It's off enough that I know I can't use this. We'll take a quick peek at my little setup here. So magnifying glass, big light. I like this kind right here. And we did pick up some Titebond too. Another magnifying glass. I've got my square. I've got my graduated 64th machinist scale. And one thing of note, on these steel rules, on any rules that I'm using for accurate measuring, take a tool like this and measure your ruler and see if it's accurate. This one is just dead on the money. Most of the time, if you can run your fingernail and you can hear the sound, because these things are engraved, it means they're accurate. They're machined rather than screen printed. They're typically pretty accurate. Also, if you see Germany on them, they tend to be very accurate. So, you know, those are just my experiences. I've gone through entire offices and cleaned out rulers that weren't accurate. It's one of my pet peeves. So anyway, I've got this on there. I've got the Stu Mac website pulled up. So on there you can type in what you want your scale length to be and how many frets, and it will poop out the numbers just like that. So those are all the thousandths, and I've got my decimal equivalents back here. Let's see if we can back up. So we're going to get as close as we can within the 64ths, and if we don't have an accurate number from there out, we're going to have to split 64ths with the magnifying glass. That's really the only way that I can make this as accurate as possible, you know. So I'm doing everything I can to control that situation, but I'm convinced that I will be very accurate, but there will be errors, and I think I'll be able to file those errors out. Other things of note while I'm sitting here looking at this stuff, did buy some Titebond too, there we go. Also bought a little attachment for the Dremel to let it do some routing, and I am planning to do the inlays with this piece. So this aluminum back here will become my inlay material, and you guys will see that probably in the next episode after I get this piece done. Fret number 1 is 1/389 in terms of the thousandths, so 389 thousandths. When we look at the back of our rule, it has these all broken down, and there you can see 390, maybe, boom, 390. So 25/64 is 1/1000th of an inch over where we're trying to go. So we'll be 1 and 25/64 minus 1/1000th of an inch. (25/64) on the money. 12/375 is 3/8. One, two, 3/8. I don't know how well those show up on camera, but you can kind of zoom in just a little bit and you can kind of see what I've got. So half of my fretboard has X-Acto marks where it goes. I do have two little boo-boos. One here, I put the mark in the wrong spot. I had my ruler backwards or something. Another one here I kind of strayed off. But this whole fretboard is going to get planed, so you won't see those, but these X-Acto marks will act as a guide for my blade, which is the next piece. This is a cheap-ass Harbor Freight saw, a little back saw, and you'll notice it's 20 thou. So it is going to work for the fret slotting. I went ahead and did a little slot over here. Hang on, guys. And I took a little piece of fret wire there and gave it the old college try. And it takes a little bit of pushing in to get it in there, but whoopsie. Ooh! but quite frankly, it doesn't take a ton of work to get it in there. So, you know, that should work. I will be gluing in my frets as well, so I think that's going to work for me. All the frets are laid out. There's some graphite dots on here. I don't know if you can see them, but I went back through and measured everything again, and some of the lines I didn't like, so I kind of split them up and made them better. You know, it's part of this square doesn't have enough of a cheek here to get down to the edge I wanted to measure from, so that kind of made it wobbly once in a while. So you really have to take your time if you're doing it this way. What I should have done is run this through the jointer to get a nice flat perfect edge both between here and the fretboard, and I think that would have helped a little bit. When I glued it up, I did try and get that flat side there, and it just didn't come out perfect like I wanted it to. But I have come from both sides to make sure that I'm square and all that kind of fun stuff. It's time to cut the fret slots now. Here we have it. Not a whole lot worse for the wear. You can see a couple little spots where I had some jumpy jumps, and this one down here kind of widened out at the end. I don't know what the hell happened there. It just didn't pull straight. So that one too a little bit. You know, I couldn't resist. I just set the frets on board there, and you know, just wanted to make sure. And you know, these aren't, they're just set there, but make sure that they're progressively getting smaller, and that we didn't have one that grew somewhere in the middle. And there were a couple when I went back through, and I did remeasure everything. There we go. I did remeasure everything before I cut, like 3 times. And every time I found just little teeny weeny inaccuracies, and did my best to fix them. You know, that's all you can do. And so anyway, yeah, it looks pretty sweet. I'm pumped about it. I have no idea how I'm going to inlay this 24th fret. There's no room to work there with these jumbo frets. So I don't know. My inlay idea may be shot down before it ever gets started. I think I'm going to cut it off there. I know the video may not show that much, but I've had it for the day. The next time we come back, I'm going to be radiusing the fretboard. So I'll kind of give you a little preview there. I do have these automotive blocks here. They aren't perfectly flat, but they do make a good, really good reference if you've got stuff straight. I also bought this straight edge, and I went through about a dozen of these at the store and found the one. I just kind of lay them on edge on the table saws, and those, you know, the deck of the table saw is generally machined, so they're a pretty good flat surface. I couldn't find a single flat level. I probably went through 20 or 30 levels. Even the one with the machined edge, they weren't flat, but this was pretty flat. So I've got that. I've got this piece, and then I took a little time at my office and drew these up on the computer. So they're just radius gauges. I did every inch from 5-inch radius up to 20, and then I just put them on some chipboard. I don't know if you guys can see that. I just spray fixed them to chipboard and then used the old X-Acto to cut them out so that I'll be able to stick these on my fretboard and see where I'm at radius wise as I'm planing down this guy. So that'll be the next time. But for now, that's all. Don't let your meat go.